Okay. Greetings and Hotep. I'm listening to the Queen of Wands, divinely guided. Death moves. What else did it say? Guilty. But it happened a day ago. Today is November 6th, so I guess it was recorded or uploaded on December 5th. Let me make sure today is December 6th. Yes, Monday, November 6th, excuse me, 2023, 11:57, here in Tampa, Florida. Now, dear Sensei, now I compartmentalize people. My Sensei was a great person. The man who I had a baby for, Clarence Joseph Washington Jr., is all of a deadbeat dad. You left this Sunday that I went into labor. You called me. You were in the car with your, you say it's your brother. Your nickname is East. His nickname is West. His name is Wesley Allen. His girlfriend name is Elizabeth. She was pregnant. So that baby got to be, if my child is 16, that baby got to be 14, 15, something like that. She used to work at Walmart. Now, you, Sensei, Clarence, East, have you been stealing from me since my mama died? My mom kept saying, are you going to take care of my daughter? And you said, if she let me. Now, I was not interested in being in the hood. I was not interested in being one of your wives. Do you remember when I came to Lakeland and I interviewed to join this, I don't even know what to call it, hood, cult, to be the educator of the children? At that time, Asia had 10 children. Amma had 1. And you were very angry, and it just reminded me of my daddy, how he used to get angry and beat my mama. And I felt like if I joined, I would be beat upon too. Saida wasn't there, but I think you all had Saida's 2 children with you all. So that would have been 10 from Asia, 2 from Saida, and 1 from Amma. That's 13 if I can count. 10 plus 2 is 12 plus 1 is 13. And I said no. But after I introduced you to my fat ass fake friend Natalie Renee Carnegie that I met over at the University Head Start, Delegate 3, Louis de la Parte Mental Health Institute on the campus of Tampa's University of South Florida. She's like, Alene, he said he won't do it without you. And if you do it, then we can all do his whatever kingdom of doing, open a dojo so that we can teach children self-discipline through the karate, right? And we were going to help so many black families, and I let your fat ass talk me into that, fat bitch, when you knew you just wanted to take advantage of me and steal from me. You were the one that told Alma that I had a nervous breakdown in the hospital with the twins and they needed to come help me and get my children and all of that. So, fat bitch Natalie, this was all you're doing, you fat whore? Because you saw me as an easy mark? And all these years, y'all been behind the scenes fucking over my life for some money? Now, I will give you, you are brilliant, but you're an evil genius. And you tried to get me to go see that fat white lady in St. Pete or Clearwater that do voodoo, whatever. You said she was fat and her legs was cracking and she was sick. And I was saying, well, if she knows how to do so much magic, why is her body breaking down? And I didn't go nowhere with you. But you did do my hair, bitch, and you did my feet. So you had access to my hair and my toenails. You fucked up my hair, burnt it out, and fucked up my feet. And me and my simple, stupid ass didn't realize that you truly, really hated me. You knew how to do hair. You burnt my hair out intentionally. You knew how to do feet. You intentionally fucked up my feet. And I kept saying, well, damn, she keep thinking she can do things, but she doesn't do a good job. She's incompetent. But you were maliciously incompetent. And you were the one who brought that fat ass maliciously also incompetent attorney here to represent me, Barbara Twine Thomas. You brought that fat bitch from Tallahassee, didn't you? And she fucked over my life and went into court and ignored how I wanted to proceed for myself and told the judge, well, Your Honor, she crazy. She don't take her medication. And I hope that fat bitch is suffering. She don't look so fat anymore. I was trying to get help from St. Michael's and they kept rejecting me and I couldn't figure it out. Why they would reject me when I'm in class with Professor Sandag over at Hillsborough Community College working on my AS and paralegal, trying to see if I really want to be an attorney after I get a little clerk job and get in there and see if I really want to do this thing. And I keep getting just negativity. And it's like, why they keep turning me down? I go all the way out there and they won't open the door. This happened about 4 times when Anthony was trying to intentionally run the house into bankruptcy, even though the Jervik Holdings attorney, Natalie, O-U-L, like omelet, O-U omelet, something like that. She said they were willing to reinstate the loan. We only took $30,000. Now, Anthony said it ended up being $60,000. But I just got a paper from the courts when I went down there, filing another pleading with Judge Cheryl Thomas, right? So we got Barbara Twine Thomas and Cheryl Thomas. Did Barbara Twine Thomas marry Cheryl Thomas's son? Or hell, daughter. Now, same-sex things are happening these days. So I think it's all connected. Cheryl Thomas wasn't listening to me either. I sent in my check stubs from Rogers Park. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday were full days. I got paid like a little over $100 a day. And then on Fridays, this is day labor. On Fridays, we got off work at 11:30. So that check was maybe $70, $60, something like that. And I used to pay Ernesto every day $10 to take me to People Ready in that plaza on Nebraska and 142nd Street to pick up my check. Pete was my upline over there. Now, they were giving me fake checks. I went and tried to pay my storage unit. And usually I would just cash my check at the corner store there on 142nd. And what is that? They charge you like $1 to cash your check. And this particular day, I went to Walmart because the Walmart on Bush and Florida is right in front of the storage unit. Mini Max or Mini Maxi storage unit on Bush and Florida. Erica Carpenter is the manager that collects the money back there. And when the girl at Walmart, the little grocery store Walmart, the green one, put the check in the little swiping machine, she said, this check is, it won't swipe. I said, lady, I just want to pick this check up. What do you mean? She would not cash that check. I had to take checks over to the little corner store. What is it? Quick Stop, something like that. It's over in Suitcase City, down from the Santa Maria Mission Church on 15th and 142nd, where we go pick up food. She wouldn't cash it, so I couldn't pay. And I had to alter my schedule again the next day, and I didn't want to lose my storage unit, so I said I went to talk to Craig instead of talking to Al. Al and I were getting along good. I didn't want to ask Al because I believed Al would have told me no, I couldn't leave early, because Al is like, oh, people just don't want to work. He doesn't understand. People who are at day labor, their lives are really effed up. That's why they at day labor. And they have things that when you start making money, you're clearing things up. Okay, let me go pay this and, pay this ticket and get my D6 clearance and get my driver's license back. Then the next couple of weeks, you're going to get your insurance. And sometimes if you're at work all the time and you catch the bus, you need to leave early so you can catch the bus to go get these things done. And then when your shit gets clear, you got your car back up again. You can see the consistency of coming to work, but at the beginning, it's rocky. Al didn't understand that. Craig seemed like he could understand better. So I needed a sure shot. So I said, Craig, I really need to leave early tomorrow because today I went to Walmart. They told me my check was no good and I gotta go to my bank or take the checks over here. I should have been taking them to my credit union all along. But what's his name? Ernesto claimed he had to pick up his son sometimes at school and he couldn't, spend a lot of time with me. Going to USF, you got to go all down in the university park, get out and all of that, go stand in line, fill out a form to deposit it. And so at the little corner store, you pull right up, you jump out, you sign it, you give them the ID and the check, and you got your money in your hand. And so under that kind of duress, I wanted to do it the quickest way, and it cost me. If I would have been taking those checks to the bank would have caught right away that those were fake checks. You see what I'm saying? So a girl named Jessica that worked at People Ready, she used to give me checks, and Alan, a black man, he used to print me checks. So Alan, Jessica, Pete, somebody in there know what was going on. One day I went to pick up a check and a car pulled in, and God had me look over there. I said, I think those people are coming to pick up money out of my check or to pick up my check, something. I couldn't figure it out. And Ernesto was like, nah, girl, go on in there and get that check. You tripping. And he was in on it somehow. I just don't know how. I don't really know schemes too well. So I went on in and picked up the check, but I knew in my soul something was wrong. So these people are on cameras in these plazas. If the FBI, CIA, ICE, DEA, I don't know who does this scam shit investigation, probably the FBI, they can go back and pull the video footage from People Ready, from that community thrift store, from Sound Exchange, from the church that's in that plaza. I think there's a ABC building supplies place in there too. And it used to be Grand Prix Auto, but Grand Prix Auto was sold out and now they're putting up some little cheap apartments back there. So I said all of that to say if you look at the cars that park over by the People Ready, you can see the pattern of fraud that was taking place. So back to you, Sensei. Y'all been doing this stuff to me all this long time. Did my mom tell you about a trust fund? I don't know why she didn't trust me enough to tell me. Maybe she thought I would be upset that I should have got the money at 18 and they were keeping it a secret and spending it. Maybe that's why when I was in New York having a great time and I had secured a job as a teacher and secured a job as a bookkeeper at a mayor's house, I was going to be making $70,000 a year. That was, let me see, if the bombing happened in 2000, that would have been 1999 after I left the University of South Florida. My job was abolished. Fucking around with that fat ass Natalie Renee Carnegie. I decided not to take the job with USF Radio, the Bulls network, doing something for deaf people. Because when your job is abolished, they give you like 6 months to get another job within the USPS job grade category so that you can keep your time. And then once you've been working there for 10 years full time, you are entitled to retirement. So I was entertaining getting another job, but it would have given me a whole $10,000 pay cut. It's like starting over. And I opted to leave and, you know, get unemployment. So all that time, y'all been messing over your girl. And I'm telling you the truth, I have been a good steward. I really tried to do right. And I kept saying, God, I am too brilliant to be broke. What is going on? I am too brilliant to be broke. God, what is going on? And he kept trying to show me things, and my little simple self just didn't get it. And it wasn't until you all did something with Lawrence. I don't even know if Lawrence is dead. I was about to say killed Lawrence. I don't know if Lawrence decided to join y'all little fraud crew and he faked his death and collected an insurance policy and living, in France, Paris, Japan. He was talking about China. He had some ministry he wanted to do in China. And I was working on opening my resource center to help black children who want to be club wannabe. You want to be a doctor, but you don't have good study skills. You want to be a dentist. You don't have good study skills. You want to be an engineer. You don't have good study skills. You come to the SOS Center, and we're going to help you develop your study skills, link you with people who are doing what you say you want to do, and see if you really want to do that or if you want to change your major. But we're going to create a support system so that you can be that thing, so that there is a competent presence of African American children that become competent professionals, instead of us falling all the way down to slave status, which is what is looking like is happening right now. So I let that fat ass Natalie Renee Carnegie talk me into it. She said that he wouldn't do the whole hood thing without me. So I agreed. I want you to know, as soon as I agreed, there was nothing but arguing. Natalie came to me and spoke against mahogany. Natalie told me that wait a minute, that she found out Sensei was gay. So she said, I want you to ask him, and she was on the other line on the phone. I want you to ask him if he has sex with West. So I asked him, and that's what he got upset with me about. And she knew what she was doing. She was creating division. She would talk to him about what I said, probably telling lies. Then she would be talking to Mahogany separately. And then when we got together, there was like, no, I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that. So she was the whole mastermind. She's an Aquarian. You know how they do. They play chess. I wasn't even playing checkers. I was still skipping through the field, admiring the butterflies. And she just blew up the spot. So she kept saying, because he was living with me at my childhood home, 6010 North 32nd Street. Please, Alene, please let him come. Let him come. I'm like, let him come. I don't motherfucking control nobody. Right? So I said, of course the man can come and visit you in Tallahassee. She was like, yes. So I don't know what she fed him over there. I don't know what she did to him. But the day that I went into labor on a Sunday, he and his brother, West, I don't think they're blood brothers, but I guess they could be, did not come back. But he had strengthened me to the point to help me understand that you can't believe everything the allopathicians tell you. They tell you that so that they can have control over you. So I started researching and going to conferences and learning how to become a doula, how to have my own prenatal visits with myself, how to take my own vitals, how to listen to the heartbeat. I forget the name of that tool that they have. It's not a stethoscope. It's a fetal something. And I felt comfortable and confident that I could birth my own baby. So I was like, dang, I did not plan on being here. I was talking to him about going to the farm in Tennessee, but I was taking care of my grandmother, Melva Atkins. She was living there with us too. And I was uncomfortable trying to put her in a car, his car, that little Volvo. I didn't think it was going to make it to Tennessee. And if we broke down on the side of the road, I got my grandmother who is in a wheelchair. She doesn't walk anymore because she fell and she got scared to try. So that put her in a wheelchair. You got to pick her up and do everything for her, turn her this way, that way. And, once they butts get bony, you can easily get a bed sore on that coccyx bone. Then when they get a bed sore, now you got to deal with elder abuse and, oh, you're not taking good care of them. So it's a lot of issues. I decided not to go to the farm. I really wish I would have had the courage to do so. I wish I would have found a way, whether that's to get a van and lay her down in the van and still do the, rotating every couple of hours. And renting a van would have given us a competent vehicle. And we still could have gone. But I gave birth to my baby anyway, in the bathroom at home, 6010 North 32nd Street. I was the first face she saw. And as soon as her head got out, she was like, and this is Go-Go of Go-Go Art. She draws really well. She got that from her daddy. My brother, Anthony, he's the oldest of everybody and the only boy. He could draw. And when I looked at pictures, if they were simple pictures like Minnie, Mickey, Daffy Duck, Donald Duck, I could draw those pictures really well just from looking at it and recreating it in my mind's eye. But if things got like 3D, 5D, it's really hard. It was hard for me to transition. But I'm sure if I took classes and I was taught the techniques, that I would be able to draw well too. Well, for her, it pretty much is just naturally in her body. And then she goes online and she watches classes and she does hands and realistic art to proportion. She does a great job. So I think she got that from her father, my sensei, the crook that I'm talking to you about, that has been stealing from me, I believe, since 2006 when my mom died. So my mom kept saying to him, "You're going to take care of my daughter?" And he was saying, "Yeah, if she lets me." So Natalie knew, and she intentionally separated me from him and from Mahogany, right? So that she can run her little scam game. I don't understand why she would tell people that I was crazy. I was an activist, and I was standing my ground and standing up for other black people and poor people. And she took advantage of me in that way so that she could live a comfortable life. She may have even been living as me in other places, getting apartments in my name, getting cars in my name, getting my benefits. When I was pregnant, they were supposed to give me bed rest and then give me the welfare check for the two babies. And I filled out all the forms, and all of a sudden my little caseworker started acting weird. Her cousin, Natalie Renee Carnegie, had a really fat cousin named Carolyn that worked for DCF. She allegedly died from AIDS. And Natalie said she saw Julia, which is the wife of somebody that is close to me, at places when her cousin would go and get AIDS services. So she said that the girl Julia had AIDS. Now, Natalie is a bit of a mess maker, I'm learning, so maybe she was telling the truth, maybe she wasn't. But she was letting me know that the person that we knew in common probably also had AIDS, and I should steer clear of that person. I was like, girl, me and that person ain't did nothing in years, and we won't do anything. And it's definitely been 30 years since me and that person have had that kind of intimate contact. Because when you leave me with a baby and you see I'm struggling and you won't help and it's like pulling teeth to get $50 a week, no, you're not pouncing on me ever again if I can keep my wits about me. 8 billion people in the world and I'm going to let you re-enter me and you don't even want to, no, take care of children that's already present. I'm trying to talk around the situation because I don't really like putting people just out there. Even when it's just allegations, I don't like to do it. But if I have to directly do it because you have been taking advantage of me or God said do it, then I'm going to do it. So you might see me with a person, but just because you see me with a man, please don't assume that he is inserting his member in my cavity in my cave, okay? Because I can be around people for years and we have never done nothing. Just because you know a person or they're of the opposite sex, that doesn't mean you have to engage in copulation. Children know this. If you don't like a person, you ain't feeling their vibe, don't just do it because they want you to or because you're the same, you're opposite or you're just there. Don't be that kind of person. So my mom kept saying to Sensei, Clarence, are you going to take care of my daughter? Are you going to take care of my daughter? Because I guess my mom really felt like she was going to die. And he was like, yeah, if she let me. And I didn't say, Mom, I'm scared of that man. I'm not going to be with him. Because as long as he was with me at 6010 North 32nd Street, I was willing to do that. But now, after my mom died, they talking about going to Texas with him. Hell, and no. I went to Texas to find out who he was, where he came from, because who is East? I'm not finna go marry nobody talking about their name is East. What is that? That's a direction. So who are you really? What's your government name? Where were you born? I want to talk to some of these people. If I'm going to marry you, I'm going to do the research. So me saying that, Natalie put together this road trip to go back to Galveston, Texas, and Hitchcock, where he and his family are from, to make me feel comfortable marrying him. Well, the marriage never took place, okay? But she had a greater game to do. Maybe she married him using my name because they knew I had cashola coming to me, right? So none of them people were my friend, because a friend would be like, girl, do you know you got money over here? You need to go get it. Let me show you how. What you gonna give me? What's my finder's fee? That's the kind of conversation that goes on with friends. Or let me help you get your money. And you know that as a friend, I'm gonna break you off something. But them, ooh, I almost used the N word. I want this video to go forward. They didn't tell me none of that. Okay, so now here we are. You count from 2006 to 2023. Let's just go 2016, 2026. That's 20 years. It's 2023, so let's deduct 3 from 20. That's 17 years, right? If I can still do math, because they around here calling me crazy and incompetent and a whore, and she do drugs and she drink and she prostitute. I ain't never done none of them things. So they're saying these things to keep me from knowing what's going on and to keep the courts from including me. Now, even crazy people get their crazy check. I see them at Amscot when me and my children are standing there selling the world's finest chocolate. The people who get that crazy check, I think it's on the 3rd. They come in, they cash their little money or they take money off their card and they go in and they pay for a water bill. They buy a monthly bus pass, whatever they doing. Crazy people get their money, but then I'm crazy and I can't get my money. So my family's in on it too, Anthony. And because of the intentional, malicious incompetence of this lady, Barbara Twine Thomas, I didn't sign any papers saying that she could represent me. I was representing myself pro se with assistance from counsel. Whenever you do that, the courts just take advantage of you. So never do that. If you're going to be pro se, be pro se. If they deny you from being pro se, they have to state why. So maybe they paid off Judge Catherine G. Esrick saying, hey, we want you to say she's incompetent and she needs a psychological evaluation. Because they knew I wasn't going to no doctors for this bullshit. But because it was my children on the line and I had prayed for twins and God gave them to me, I did work to comply. So I went to try to engage with Lisa Gaze. And Lisa Gaze, Dr. Lisa Gaze, psychologist, was on some real F-ish. And so I wrote a note and left her office. See, they'll record you, but when you record them, they have a problem. And then they try to turn their recording into see how she's crazy or see how she's this. And as an activist, I had already been hip to the game. So I was trying to protect myself. And Lisa Gaze wrote a whole bunch of old lying BS on paper and submitted it to the courts. And I'm sure she's receiving karma for that. The other person I went to try and reason with, Dr. Alberts. His name is, I think, what is his first name? Dr. Alberts. I can't remember. He's over at Davis Island, his office is. Well, when I saw this fat motherfucker, I tried to not say that. I'm like, well, wait a minute. The DSM-4 at the time diagnosed morbid obesity as a mental health disorder. So I'm like, how y'all gonna send me to this fat motherfucker? And he got his own mental health issues he need to deal with. And he took my handwritten memos and turned those into how we can show, according to her writings, that she's not an activist. She just crazy. And when we got to court, and I called it a kangaroo court, and I said, y'all already got y'all little thing that y'all running here. You want me present so you can say, well, we gave her trials and we gave her attorneys. And all those attorneys were stacked against me. That's from Angela Bridget Wright, Wright, black woman, but she wasn't right. Henry Nobles. He wasn't trying to file any motion to dismiss. He was not trying to take the information I gave him, which was my side of the story, and represent me. Norman Palumbo Jr., he's like, oh, well, you should just go ahead and sign it because they're going to get it anyway. I'm like, well, wait a minute. They told me you were assigned to me as my attorney. Why are you talking like that? You work for them. And yes, they all work together against you. The problem was I, as an activist, was causing problems by exposing corruption within Tampa, Florida. And the greater government, like Pam Iorio, the mayor, and code enforcement, and them little corrupt people, they all wanted me shut up. So if we say she's crazy and we all come together and get her on some psychotropic meds and fuck her mind up for real, she'll shut up. Or, she'll just be talking to herself in scrambled tones, and then she really will be crazy, and we'll sit around and be like, ha, 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 ha. Evil-ass people work in the government. Evil-ass people be attorneys. Evil-ass people be doctors. They all trying to cover their ass. They got a lot of student loans. They got these Mercedes they got to pay for. They got these houses. And they don't have time for you and your righteousness to interrupt their flow. So they all pretty much band together to make it so. It even got so ugly, I would be waiting for Heartline to come pick me up, and they would skip schedules to make sure I was late to visit my children over there at 700 East Twigs with Trisha Waterman. And she would be like, oh, well, she doesn't love her children. She doesn't come on time. She comes late to the appointments. You see how it all plays in? They ain't gonna even listen to you when you say the bus is late. Well, you should be there, earlier. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, you already dealing with these people done took my damn children, cut them, gutted me like a fish, yanked them out my womb, called me crazy, interfering with me breastfeeding, and done turned my life on its head. And then you're explaining to them what's happening, and they feel like you can do better when there's so many organizations and aspects of the government working against you. They getting paid, and then they're working against you, and you're supposed to be victorious. So when I saw it all together, I was like, wow, this is something else. What recently came to me is that my family was working with them. That's what really just gave me a broken heart. That's what really did it for me. And then my sister, Alva, my oldest sister, would be like saying in front of my children, your mama don't love you. She don't have time for you. She don't want you. And I'm like, what is wrong with her? But then my brother was saying the same thing. Oh, you crazy. You crazy. You need to go see somebody. All of this was a plan and ploy to make me be crazy so that I would not qualify for getting my children back and getting the trust, right? And I'm like, I'm the smartest out of all of us. Why do they keep trying to make me be crazy? And I was in New York living my new life, switching subjects. I was in New York living my new life, and every time I called my mom to tell her what a wonderful time I was having living in Harlem, that was my dream. From TV, I wanted to go see what New York was like, live in Harlem, and go to Central Park, Prospect Park, and just the Schomburg, and see what life was like. And so I was living my dream, and I would call and be like, Mom, I'm having such a great time. I was in Prospect Park at Marcus Garvey Park, and there was a drumming circle, and I was dancing, and I was reciting poetry, and I was freestyling. And she would be like, oh, Alene, please come back. Please come back. And I was like, Ma, why would you want me to come back when you know when I'm in Tampa, I'm protesting, standing up for black people. The sheriff trying to shoot me. They got their hands on their gun. The police are pulling me over, lying, saying I'm speeding. They're harassing me. Why would you want me to come back to that? She never answered. Then she put my brother on the phone, and he would be like, bring your stupid behind back. You don't know nobody. You ain't got enough money to be there. And everything was working out. The same check that I took, I'm pretty sure I brought that check back. If I didn't bring the check back, I brought the same amount of money back that I left with. And they were trying to tell me how I wouldn't make it, and God was just opening doors. But guess what my dumb ass did? I came back and got stuck here in the trap. I jumped back in the pot with the crabs because of my mom begging me to come back. And I just don't understand why she would do that. But now I understand. Money. I understand. So back to you, Sensei. Did you really do this to me? Did you really do this to me? Have y'all been romping around, putting credit cards in my name, going into my accounts, hacking my accounts, lying on me so that y'all could live off of my money? Y'all getting a disability check in my name? Were y'all getting food stamps in my name? Were you using my Medicaid? Y'all getting a little Medicaid card too? Y'all putting apartments in my name, cars in my name, so that y'all could mess up my credit? I don't know, but I guess I'm gonna have to learn to become a hacker so that I can figure out what you all have done to me. And I don't mean become a hacker. What do I mean? Learn the same information that hackers know so that I can inform people so that they can protect their identity. I don't know how long y'all been doing this to me. I don't know who got, my stimulus checks. I was telling somebody I thought was my friend Donnie, I wanted my stimulus checks to pile up so that I could buy a piece of property from Dave. He was gonna sell it to me for $7,000. It was 25 by 100, and it was right across from Potter Elementary. Then I was gonna get me a little RV, put me up a fence. He already had an electric pole up there, and separate from my family, because them jiggers are a cantankerous bunch. Especially Anthony the bully. Oh, you crazy, you crazy. And I didn't want my children, my girls, to keep hearing that from him, where he kept trying to put me down because I wanted to give birth to my own babies, grow my own food in the yard, make clothes for my own children, learn how to make shoes that were agronomically correct, where the proper fabrics, where our bodies could breathe, and basically live as indigenous tribal people in the city, but be able to put information out so that people who wanted to also live that way would know how to do it and have some support person. And he killed that. They kept calling DCF, telling them I'm crazy, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And I asked my brother, like, why do you hate me? Because it became apparent. And it might not have been so much hate as it was love for the money and an easy life. And they stole my children legally through the 13th Judicial Circuit Court with the maliciously incompetent list of court-appointed attorneys. And when I went to Washington, D.C. to file complaints with HHS, Health and Human Services, they had done two things: changed my date of birth from November 24th to December 24th. And the other thing they did, so that HHS could not find my complaint and link into my birth record, which I gave birth May 26, 2004, at Morton Plant Meese Hospital, Clearwater Beach, Florida. They said that I had a court-appointed attorney. When I didn't have a court-appointed attorney, Barbara Twine Thomas was forced on me. Now, let me tell you what I just realized. Maybe they got my mom to hire her for me. But even if my mom hired her for me, they can't force me to have an attorney. So maybe that's why Judge Barbara Twine Thomas revoked my right to be pro se and called me crazy so that somebody else could take over my case. You know, if I'm incompetent, then my mother has to make decisions for me. And maybe Natalie got my mom to pay Barbara Twine Thomas to represent me behind my back. So that's what I'm thinking. Natalie is the reason I went to go see attorney Tiffany, what's her last name? She lives on Elm Street in Tampa, right up the road from Pam Williams' mom, who just recently died. This lady knew when we sat down it was a family court case. She took my mom's money. It was maybe $250. $50. I can't remember what it was. She sat there and had me talk about the whole case and then said, well, I can't take your case because I don't do that kind of law. But she kept my mom a check. When I told Natalie, Natalie laughed. So basically they schemed my mom. And Pamela Williams' mom, I used to stop and just talk to her. I was going to rent a room from her to use it as a classroom to do SOS Academy. And she said, there's an attorney that lives a couple of, houses from here. You should go talk to her. I knocked on the door and saw that was that same biche that stole my mama money. And I just looked at her. That whore knew who I was, and I knew who she was. But I just played it cool and walked away and said, oh, well, the lady over there told me you were an attorney. You could help me. And then I looked at her face. I was like, child, please. That's a con artist. So it's a little small world here in Tampa, Florida. When we were suing the University of Tampa, Florida, USF, when we were suing the University of Florida, USF, through EOC, we had a union rep Natalie guided me to join the union, and we had more rights. They couldn't just fire us. If they did things to us after we filed, that would be retaliation. And all of a sudden, our union rep, Kevin, switched out on us, dropped the case. The attorney that Natalie found for us, K. Dale, Barbara Pittman. I'm getting them confused. One is Donnie's friend. I think Barbara Pittman was Donnie's friend, and K. Dale was the attorney that was representing us in our suit against USF. Natalie came and said she dropped our case and said that there was no recovery, when in fact I am pretty certain that there was money, there was a settlement, and she stole my money, or they're trying to steal my money. So because of the identity theft, they did the asset search, and they have been collecting, I'm alleging they've been collecting pots of money. And I'm talking about the fake friends, Natalie, Sensei, Donnie. It's over 50 of them. The gang stalkers that follow me and try to interfere with life and make things hard, so I can have a nervous breakdown and be crazy for real. And maybe, if they're lucky, KI myself. That's what they got planned. But God, they don't understand that I lived in chaos, living with Arthur Atkins, who was a full-time alcoholic, probably because of spell work. Seagram's gin already destroyed my life, and let's say my nerves, okay, since that's what y'all be after. And already helped me to understand how to live in chaos. I had to live in chaos, okay? So, thank you, Arthur Atkins. Thank you, Melva Atkins and Lindsay Atkins, for making Arthur Atkins my daddy, brown belt in judo, who thought it was funny and fun to practice judo on his children and hit them in that little spot right below the sternum and knock the air out of them. And then when they start crying, call him crybaby, dig his nails into you while he's holding you in a headlock with his legs. And that was his way of preparing you for the world. And you'd be crying and he'd be laughing. And I just never thought those experiences would come in handy. And then here you all come with your evil, greedy asses to help me understand that Arthur Atkins prepared me for this. So thank you, Daddy, and get him, because God told me to tell y'all 3 weeks ago that he is coming for 3 sets of 3, and y'all going down to the bad place. You're leaving this physical earth. 3 sets of 3. Now, if you remember math, that's 9. But every time I tell y'all what God told me, y'all be like, oh, she's wishing death on me. I do my return to senders. Anything, everything you send to me, I hope and pray that it returns back to you. And I know y'all doing more than death spells, right? So whatever. You don't want me to be pretty. You don't want me to have a big booty. You don't want me to have a snatched waist. You don't want me to have pretty feet. You don't want me to have smooth skin. May it all just return back to you. And that ain't nothing wrong with that, is it? If you thought to send it to me, if it returns back to you, that's only fair. So I don't really rack my brains anymore about this. I'm looking at the sky right now. The creator, whoever put that blue sky up there and those trees hanging in the balance, the sun by day and the moon by night, if you live over here and, other parts of the world near the equator, Alaska and all of that, they have all day for 24 hours, all night for 24 hours. That's, whatever. The creator who put the planets in place and got the rotation and all of that, that entity knows exactly what y'all did. Y'all stealing my mail so I can't come to court, so I can't get checks. As an activist, many people said, we're about what you're about, and we want to financially help you. So I'm in many people's wheels. Reality Speaks is. Alene DAtkins is. Club Wannabe is. SOS 5 STEMG Academy is. And I've been the one suffering. I'm the one who was taken out of professional work in 1999. Now look how many years I've been scuffling around here trying to be a flea market vendor, trying to open my own resource center, trying to open my own school, and y'all been stealing my thunder. Over 20 years. So just calculate that. If I had stayed working at the University of South Florida making $30,000, eventually I was going to get my PhD degree because they gave me 6 free credit hours every semester. Everybody that know Aileen love learning, and if she could pay for it, she would be in school every semester. I would have 10 doctorate degrees and climbing. Then I'd have some laboratories. That's just how I am. I love learning. I love to see people grow. I love educating people. I worked in alternative ed to help children who had behavior problems like I had behavior problems. Except my behavior problems wasn't really the problem. Them boring ass lesson plans y'all put together still today, those are the problems. We need interactive classrooms across the board, especially in neighborhoods where children of trauma and poverty live. You standing up there today, class, they ain't down for that bullshit. I meant really. And you're losing the children, but you already know that. And you're obviously okay with that, right? So y'all come up with charter schools instead of you all becoming more interactive within the schools. And then the charter schools can only take a couple of children. Then you send all the wayward children over there with the better lesson plans, and then they still don't meet the test scores, or you raise the test scores, or you whatever you do, so that you can say that the charter schools aren't doing well, and then they fade out. So all of that needs to be revamped. Hence my run for school board in 2006. And Spirit kept saying to me, if you keep going with your run for school board, that wasn't 2006. My mama died 2006. Let me see. 2006, I put my bid in for the school board. Or was it 2008? I can't remember. I think it was 2006, though. I kept hearing, if you keep trying to run for school board, they're going to kill your dad. They're going to kill your dad. That shit didn't make no sense to me. Then when I start learning about sacrifices and all of that, it's like, oh, I didn't know where that thought kept coming from. Still today, I don't. I say it was God, but, these people do spell work. They send these suggestions. There is no telling where that thought came from. And I was dealing with Albert Clayton, and I remember I was really angry with Albert because he started acting different. I was the kind of person, I used to try to introduce all my friends together to create one friend group. So I introduced him to Letitia, and that's when everything got weird, and he started flaking on me. He was going to help me pay a light bill or something because we were out doing our activism thing. So I wasn't able to do my little selling crap at the flea market to pull together my little bill money. And he went to Orlando. Our lights got turned off. And he came from Orlando. He was in a van. And I told him, don't worry about it. Just keep the money. He said he had it. And I was like, nah, don't even worry about it. Because all money ain't good money. Sometimes you take money from people and it's like a unspoken contract and they feel like they own you. They're over you. And it gets complicated because you don't really know what's in the person's mind. And I came up with a no strings attached donation form. If you don't sign this no strings attached donation form, I'm not taking your money because you're going to try to manipulate me. Well, when you were in need, I gave you this and that. Nope, you signed a no strings attached. You said that was a gift that you wanted to give to help me in my life or to help me move my work forward. And so I was angry with him and I said, I hope you die. And my daddy died shortly after that. Was that karma? Was Albert Clayton doing spell work? Did he share that with Letitia and Letitia did a death spell on my daddy? I don't know what happened. I just remember saying that to him, and I remember my daddy dying. And I was like so devastated. And it made me watch my words from that point on. And I still dropped out of the race. I didn't make the $3,675 or get the 3,675 signatures that I needed because I was going for an at-large, let me see, a county-wide seat. And so I put my bid in again for school board last year. Let me see. I signed my papers in 2022. I think it was May. My daughter turned 18 and she was going to be my secretary treasurer. My oldest daughter, she's one of the twins that were stolen from me. And so my brother and sister, they could not manipulate me to go along with their little schemy plot with A-plus properties and them evicting me from the house. And I don't know what else they had going on. I have a couple of speculations, but Eric Allen and Anthony Atkins may be the same person. Eric Allen and Wesley Allen, Wes, the astrologer, my sensei's brother, could be the same person. Clarence Joseph Washington Jr. could be Eric Allen. They create these fake LLCs to hide people's assets so that they can defraud you out of yours. So whoever they fraudulently married me to, that person stole my estate. I owned 25%. My mom gave it to all her children equally. And Anthony's greedy ass wanted everything. So they took me out, evicted me and my 4 children and my nephew. And we are currently at large, waiting for the court system to do their thing, waiting for the FBI to finish their investigation. And I'm not included in any court because I guess they still trying to say I'm crazy and incompetent. They might even have some doppelgangers to be walking around here acting crazy so that they could record it and lie and say it's me. But Alene Dorothea Atkins, the real one, only has one tooth at the top of her mouth and has some other distinctive marks. So if somebody say that they are Alene, make them smile. Make them smile and see if they got that one incisor. So I'm going to just shut this down and say, Sensei, shame on you. If she told you something against me, fat ass Natalie, I was the one who knew you from 26. That fat bitch didn't know you. And then when I introduced y'all, you still should have kept me in the loop. But you were never a friend. So you couldn't keep me in the loop. She was never a friend. She didn't keep me in the loop. Mahogany, a.k.a. Angela, her government name, who came here recently to the GSI, the Good Samaritan, and as Mary to intercept Johnny Will Lofton to make sure he didn't support me anymore. Y'all were never friends. Tansy, never a friend. Letitia, never a friend. That's how y'all did those things to me that you could do. So, the good thing that came out of it, the Creator separated me from all of my fake friends. Thank you, Jesus. Have a nice Monday. Yemen Yah, thank you. Yemen Yah's other name in Santeria is Ursuli Dantor. Thank you. Yemen Yah is her Orishan name. So Aset is her other name. Thank you. And all of the others that hold me down. Haruk Hootie, Ogun, Shango, Osayan, Ososhi, Baba Luaye, Ola Dumari. Thank you, Jesus, Mary, all y'all. Same energy, different names and different pantheons. Same difference. Thank you. And I want to say thank you to Dr. Jewel Pookrum, Dr. Richard King, Dr. Conley, Neely Fuller Jr., Les Brown, the motivator. Les Brown said, ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to stay strong. Ask for help and don't stop asking until you get it. So I got some bills around here. It's November. My birthday's on the 24th. I want to throw myself a party. So I need some cash because the FBI, CIA, they ain't released none of my money to me. It's been years now. I don't know how long it's going to take. So I'll be out on the streets with my little birthday banner asking y'all to donate. So go to the ATM, give me a couple of $100, a couple of 20s or something and say, hey girl, yeah, I know what they did to you. That's some terrible shit. Identity theft is nothing to play with. When they take your house, almost all your cars, your identity, have the police to pull you over and take your driver's license, the tag off your car, and you on your way to work. February 9th, 2022, Thomas Kelly Thomas. It was a white female and a younger looking white skinny male and a short black man. He was in the little white Dodge Charger. They came and took my identity, my driver's license, and took my car tag, JDJN53. I went to work at Alene Oil anyway. I got there at 5 o'clock, clocked in at 5 instead of 3, told them what happened, worked my schedule, and then the next day when I was on my way to work, well, that night when I left work, the police pulled me again, and I swear to you, in the seat of my soul, I was certain that this white man, the little short, pudgy white guy with glasses that was in the children's board meeting, when they had a board meeting, Dr. Davis was there eavesdropping. That same white guy, you can pull the footage from the children's board resource center where Marcy used to work there, but that lady's name is an Indian lady there now. I can't remember her name, but Marissa was there. It was the 22nd or the 24th of February after they took my ID and my driver's license. I was talking to him. He might not even be a real police officer. They pulled me over earlier the day. So let me start it over and unconfuse it. February 9th, 2022, I left the children's board typing up a newsletter, Reality Speaks newsletter, and Spell Work Recovery Group newsletter. I got it notarized, made some copies. I left there, went to Metropolitan Ministries to ask for help from Natalie to pay my light bill and water bill, because I got let go of Rogers Park December 4th, 2021. So I'm out of work December 4th, and it's now February, and I've started going back. Prior to the day that they pulled me over, I was working at Alene Oil through the temporary agencies, and I was doing double shifts. I would do like the first shift through Liberty Staffing, and then the second shift at lunchtime I would call over to People Ready and pick up a second shift and just stay there from 3 to 11. This was illegal, but I really needed to pay my bills, so nobody knew but me, I thought. Now, after leaving Metropolitan Ministries, I got pulled over by Thomas Kelly, TPD officer. They're the ones that pulled me over on Palm and Nebraska and took my driver's license and my tag. I really thought that it was an illegal pull. They were on the take. They were doing a favor for Donnie Dwayne Flowers so that he could take that driver's license and steal my stimulus checks. That's what I thought. I didn't have any way to prove it. So I complied with them so that I could go to work because I needed to pay my light bill and my water bill. Turns out that somebody went behind my back and got some kind of LAHEAP scholarship for my light bill, but I was still paying my light bill. So they were doubling back and taking the money that I was paying Tico and paying somebody else light bills or getting the money sent to them. They sent my brother a check for $250 and turned the lights off. So it's a lot of corruption and a lot of corrupt people working different places. Clerks at the Hillsborough County Courthouse corrupt judges on the take, corrupt attorneys on the take. They're everywhere. These low lives that are taking oaths and doing evil stuff behind the scenes. So these police officers, I think, were on the take. I don't think they were actually on the clock. I don't think they called in to be at that stop. I think they were there to steal my driver's license and give it to somebody else so that they could do some evil. That was February 9th, 2022. When I pulled off, because I stayed there and prayed and thanked God for me not ending up being arrested and them not taking my car. Let me finish. Stop tapping on me. I'm talking to my daughter because we were about to have an argument about me talking on this camera. Be quiet now. I'm losing my thought. She doesn't understand the importance of me healing through being able to tell my story. So we're going to have to go and get me a 128 gigabyte card when I get off this call, off this video taping. I left that corner and went to work at Alene Oil. Okay? When I left work, God said, you're going to have you some problems. So I'm like, Lord, should I sleep in the car here? But it seemed like they were trying to harm me, kill me at work. Everybody would leave. It would be, it was not even break time, but they would take a break like early, and I would be the only one up there like messing around with the bottles and the boxes. This is when I was in blow mode. And I'm like, Lord, what's going on? And then they were like, oh, well, we take a 15-minute break to take 15 minutes earlier and all of this. And I'm like, well, I didn't know it, so why am I the only one that didn't know? So the only reason it's because I felt like they were trying to harm me before that time. And I got shot at the golf course. That's the reason I didn't continue to go to work. Somebody shot at me, and Al was sitting on his cart. I had my back turned to him at bunker number 3, and I was raking down the sides of the bunker. So let's go back over to me being the only one in blow mode. February 9th, when I got off, I tried to get another shift so that I could stay there, and that would put me there from 11 to 7, and then I get off in the daylight in the morning time. So nobody would accept me for another shift. So it's 11 o'clock. I'm getting off, and I'm like, Lord, what am I going to do? I know these people are going to be out here waiting for me. These people meaning the police. So I said, should I leave my car parked over here at the port of Tampa, where you go and get your port passes? And I didn't get a yes. So I said, well, Lord, can you help me get home safely and get my car home safely? God said yes. So when I came out, I pulled over and I stopped under the light. And I saw them in formation. It was a white pickup truck with an extended cab. I saw a police car, and I saw a black, was it a black car or a black truck? I can't remember. I saw them move to get behind me in formation. So I stopped and I prayed. And I said, you know what? You said you're going to get me home safe, so cool. I usually drive up 26th Street past Coco's, and I go down by the river where the crab shacks used to be and take 26th Street all the way. But God said, shit, if you're going to do the damn thing, do the damn thing. Go straight up the hole. So when I exited, I turned left and went straight up 22nd Street. The police, I'm alleging, held the light so that the police officer who thought I was going to be coming down 26th Street came down Adamo, turned, what would that be? That would be left, to come and get behind me. They held a light for like 5 minutes. To me, that was entrapment. So by the time they pulled me, I was over by Moses's place on 22nd Street and like maybe 4th Avenue. I was strategically stopping where I knew cameras would be able to see me. So I went up like a block or two and then pulled over. Well, why didn't you have a tag on the car? I said they took my tag earlier today, but I had to go to work because my children depend on me to pay bills. We had been there for about a year. Anthony wasn't there. All he had to do was pay the little mortgage, which was like $352, and I was paying $200 in lights, about $80 in water, paying the cable, and providing food for everybody. He wasn't doing his part. So they were telling me, no, you got stopped a couple of days ago. I said, nope, it was today. And he wanted to see the ticket. So I handed the fat guy with the glasses that was at the children's board on February 22nd or 24th of 2022 the ticket. He went to the back, did something, and brought me back up my paper. He said, if you drive this car again, you're going to go to jail. But before that happened, it seemed like he had his gun on his hand and he kept looking at me and shifting his eyes. And in the seat of my soul, I said, God, this man is going to try to kill me. He's going to try to shoot me. Please don't let him shoot me. He looked on my dashboard because my car is really junky, and he saw there's a camera that goes over your rear view mirror. He saw that camera sticking up. His demeanor changed, and he just aborted mission on the shooting me. You could feel the energy lift. And he said, if you get caught in this car again driving, you're going to go to jail. I said, well, you all give me an escort to my house, and then, I'm going to park this car, and you ain't got to worry about me being in it. I parked the car. They just let me go. So I rode home. I was celebrating life, still being alive, still being in my car. When I got to the house, Alex and his friend, one of them guys that drive the little Mercedes, he's like, Auntie, what's wrong? And I felt like my nephew Alex knew what the fuck was up, but he was shocked that I was still alive. And I backed in. I said, oh, no, everything's fine. And his friend left. And so the next day I had to leave at 11 o'clock, catch the bus to 8, and then get off and then walk all the way to the Port of Tampa. And there was like 5 police officers, definitely 4 TPD cars and SUVs. The state trooper was there, and I kept passing them. They were like, they were having a parade. They thought I was going to drive that car. Bitch, please. I was waving. I said, I know y'all thought I was going to drive that car, right? Psych. But thank you for the processional. And I went on to work. Shortly after that, they were telling me that Tom and Sharon said I was on the do not return list, and the fat guy at the Columbus location of People Ready and the old white lady that sits there with them said I was on the do not return list, when what God told me is that they gave your promotion, your job, to somebody else. Somebody else was working in my stead. So when I started investigating it and I reported it to the United States Department of Labor, things start getting real hairy. I just went to Liberty Staffing. Nobody would come to the front desk. So I wrote a note and threw it over there on the desk and told the people, tell Sharon or Ian or Tom, whoever's back there, that I need them to give me my paycheck, because they still hadn't paid me for 4 days when I was working in dumping with Mr. Brown, Cassandra, Ernest, and the Emily oil contact person was Mr. Dixon. So it's a lot of corruption in these little places. They get paid off to do you dirty, and they have no problem with that. So I'm getting off the phone at 1 minute and 14 1 hour and 14 minutes. And we're getting ready to go get me another SD card so I can continue to tell you all about this craziness. Shame on you, Sensei. Shame on you, fat ass fake friend Natalie. Now, you done stole enough money to not be fat anymore. So, I know you can't do nothing about. Oh, child, I'm about to get real ghetto here. Ain't no sense in be talking about you. You pitiful anyway. You probably were molested by your daddy Joseph, and that's why you fucked up. I know you were mad that they paid for Pamela Lightborn. That's her sister's married name, Pamela Carnegie. She married a man whose last name is Lightborn. And I love her sister, her daughter. Nishka's skin is so beautiful and dark. She went to the military. Maybe that's who they talking about. Nishka? Ooh. Okay. So Natalie said her parents spent her college fund, and so Lawrence went to the military and became some kind of like high up authority. Jojo, the second boy, which is named after his daddy, Joseph Carnegie Jr., he went to the military. Pamela got an opportunity to go to college, and then Natalie didn't get a chance to go to college. They didn't pay for her to go to college. They didn't have any more money. So she's like, the Cinderella of the bunch, and she was always mad about that. Smart girl. So she found a way to make a way by being, fraudulent, conniving, and deceptive. So she hid it under the banner of activism. My family hide under the banner of Christianity and do fuck shit. She hid under activism and pulled me into that bullshit. And I was none the wiser. So she used me. And I don't appreciate that. So y'all better get your shit together. And y'all need to put a letter together and say what you did to me. God already knows. I'm going to live a great life. But I could have been living a better quality life. My children could have had more opportunities and more skills. But God is going to make up the difference. So shame on you guys. I'm going to go have a great day. I'm signing out at 1:13 p.m. on Monday, November the 7th. We're in Tampa, Florida. No matter what they say, we're not in Texas. We're not in Atlanta. All them lies they telling you. And fat ass Natalie is not me and none of the other sister wives. Alene Atkins is still Alene Atkins. Okay? Peace.